Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, my name is Seth Silvers. I co-host with Apollonia. Apollonia, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm good. It's a bit cold and snowy here in Colorado this morning, but that's what we get in February. So if you're new to this podcast, this is a podcast for safety professionals of all kinds, whether you're in construction or oil and gas. The industry doesn't really matter. What we want to talk about on this podcast is really how do you develop a safety program that people are more engaged in? And also really how do you develop as a safety professional? Because a lot of people kind of stumble into safety. We've talked about that a lot. And then they end up really liking it, but they realize like, wait, this isn't, how do I do this? So
the training, why am I here?
Yeah, there's just so many people that, they're going down one career path and then they're thrust into safety. And so there's going to be a lot of episodes on this podcast where we actually interview safety professionals. We interview some of the, top people in construction and safety around the country. But also there's going to be some episodes like today where we talk about some of the soft skills, like some of the things that are not talked about in these rough and tough industries. And so today we're talking about mindset. Apollonia, this is hugely important for you and always has been since I met you. But why is this important for safety professionals to be thinking about your mindset?
Yeah, I think, oh my gosh. Yeah. Just hearing the word mindset lights me up. My mind spirals into a million different directions. But I guess the main reason why mindset is so big for me is because I've always had a deep knowing or a deep feeling that safety is not just technical skills. Building a safety culture where I guess the end goal is zero accidents. So just taking it as practical as that. If your goal is to have zero accidents at your company, you're not going to get there through safety regulations and just through safety training. And even if you're the smartest safety professional who has all these degrees and all these credentials and trainings yourself, it doesn't end there. It all is related to mindset and how you as the safety professional can shift the mindset of your employees, of the team, of the company. Right. Because you can teach someone safety regulations, but if you don't change their mindset of how they think about safety, then you won't make a lasting impact.
Right. When did that shift for you, or when did you realize that was important? Because I know, your first, think back to your first safety job, on day one, were you thinking about okay, I got to go, get into these guys' minds and help them develop a safety mindset? Or were you thinking about okay, let's think about the rules. Let's think about the regulations.
Yeah. No, I mean, when I was a safety director for an oil and gas and trucking company. They did construction as well, but it started with me being in a safety meeting with that company. And I was a participant in the safety meeting. And I was in a room full of all these guys, couple of gals, and everyone was falling asleep in the safety meeting. And the presenter was reading off of a PowerPoint that was built in the 1970s. I swear, I don't even know what this was. I don't even understand what we were being taught. And nobody cared. That's what I will tell you. I remember how I felt in that room, and what I felt and what I saw was that everybody could care less. The person in front of the room, the safety person, had zero respect, because they were talking at the class. There was no participation in the class. They were talking above everybody. So they seemed like they knew it all. And even though I wasn't a field employee, I knew that the truck drivers alongside me, the guys and girls that work in the field, that they were looking at the safety director like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about because you've never walked a day in my shoes. Don't you dare tell me about fall protection when you've never put on fall protection yourself. So that's the overall sentence I got. And that's how I got into safety. And that's when I knew. I mean, it was it's very practical. It's very common sense to me. In my mind was that they had all the safety knowledge and tools, and the guys in the field and the girls in the field, they knew the safe way to do things. But it was, how does the culture of that company shifted when the owner of the company and the leadership of that company, when they valued safety over production, when they valued safety over everything and doing things the right way, is when everybody else followed. And that's when the mindset shifted.
Right.
So,
yeah. And it's so mind blowing that when you look at incidents, I mean, almost every single time, it really doesn't have to do with like, did they have their certification? Were they trained? Did they know what they were doing? Like, yeah, they knew what they were doing. Yes, they knew the risk they were taking. So it's like, it's something internal. Like, yes, the external is still important, but really like this mindset when it comes to culture, but also like to personal development. And I think that like in any career that somebody's in, whether they're a manager or a CEO or a frontline worker, your mindset and just having a growth mindset is super critical. And I know that that's been something that's been kind of transformed in your life over the last few years. So like even just separating from like safety mindset and more just like personal mindset, how has that been huge and important for you over the last few years? And kind of tell us a little bit about that journey for you.
Yeah. So I realized that the mindset that you have at work, the mindset that you have, that you have outside of work, like the biggest thing that lands on me is realizing that humans are all the same. We say, okay, bring your work self. And that includes not worrying about your family. That includes, just being 100% present at work. And that's not realistic. Right. So what I realize is that we're just human. So the mindset that we have in the morning and the mindset that we have getting ready for the day is a mindset that you will carry on in the workplace. And so you hear this all the time too. Like if you're not safety minded outside of work, you're not safety minded. It's who you are, whether you either care about safety or you don't. There's not a shift that happens that you're just the safety focused person while you're at work, and then you drive like a maniac on the way home. You know what I mean? Like there are no two separate people, like we are just one. And so when you develop healthy, strong habits that support a strong mindset at home, and when you teach those to other people, and when you share those tips and tricks to your coworkers, and they adopt those things too. Safety mindset, that conversation can't start the second you walk in through your office doors.
Yeah.
It starts when you wake up.
Right. It's really more about like, what is your life's mindset? Are you looking for opportunities to grow? Are you, trying to cut corners? Like if you're trying to cut corners at work, bet you anything you're probably cutting corners at home, or you're cutting corners in your relationships. It all really comes together. Yes. So what are some like helpful tips or rhythms? I guess actually before we get into the tips, like what are some rhythms or habits that you do to just like keep your mindset sharp?
Yeah. Well, 3 things really come to mind is one, and I can get into depth as much or as little as you want me to, but 3 things come to mind. The first is having a solid morning routine. For me personally, that's just how I have a consistent morning routine that I don't deviate from. And when you have a strong morning routine, it sets me up, just for me, it sets me up for the day. Mm-hmm. And it sets me up for success when I'm not feeling motivated, because you're not always going to feel motivated. You're not always going to be on a high after a conference or a high after reading a really great book, or you're excited about something. And so when motivation isn't there, my habits keep me going. So having a strong morning routine. And then number 2 is having big goals ahead of me. And I'm not saying that works for everyone. And maybe it's just setting goals, period. And maybe they don't have to be big, audacious goals like mine, but having something for me to look forward to when I wake up, I need that to keep going. It's like scheduling a trip in the summer or in the winter, whatever you have, your family vacations. Like don't you feel different when you have something on the schedule and it's planned? The momentum helps you. And then the third is something that I haven't always done, but I've just recently started doing this, and it's helped me so much, is that then closing the day with a night routine. And I've been doing that for maybe almost a year now, and it's really helped out, is just getting everything ready for the next day ahead. Little things like getting my workout outfit, getting my clothes, getting everything laid out, getting my protein, my food, so there's no guesswork in the morning. I'm not waking up in a scrambled mindset. Like I already have my gym, my work clothes, my protein, my breakfast, my whole entire food for the next day. Everything's planned out the night before.
Right.
So that's what helps me have the best successful day. Because as you know, our days are always going to get wrecked. They're always going to get sidetracked. And so that's
right. Well, and everybody knows that that's important for a CEO, for somebody leading a company, for somebody in your position. But we often don't think about like, okay, what about if you're in management? What about if you're in a lower level position? What if you're just out working on the field or on the site? And in that, I think people really need to understand like these routines, developing a mindset as a person that's strong, it's going to help you in every area of your life and professionally. Think of yourself as a supervisor. Like if you're looking at somebody for promotions and you're looking at 3 people that have all been there, a similar amount of time, and one person is positive. One person is more engaged at work. One person, like they show up on time. Also, like they take care of themselves, like they're more healthy. Sure. Like as a manager, you can't like put in your report like, well, this person is healthier than the other person. But these are all things that play into subconscious. Like these are all things that are like filing in as managers are hiring and promoting people and as businesses are building. And so all of these things, they really do play into your career development, no matter what position you're in. It's not just like for you, Apollonia, as a CEO.
I can't agree with you more. When you're right. Put yourself, no matter what position you're in, to put yourself in a supervisor's shoes. When you're looking at who the next person is to promote, it's the person that's showing up on time. They're full of energy. No one's perfect, but for the most part, full of energy. They're taking care of themselves. And when you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of everyone around you. Right. And that's the full circle when it comes to safety, is when you take care of yourself and you are having a servant mindset and you're caring about the person next to you. That's how safety culture is created. Right. And you can't have that mindset when you don't take care of yourself first.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So as we close, what are a few just tips or recommendations that you would have for some of the people that are listening and they're realizing I definitely need to develop a stronger mindset?
Yeah, I would, if you haven't already developed a morning routine, set yourself up with a consistent morning routine, and you don't have to go crazy with it. It doesn't need to be some 10-page long morning routine, but if you can make a commitment to yourself, because that's what's important, is keeping small, self-confidence is created through keeping the small habits and the promises that you make to yourself. So if you can promise yourself that you're going to wake up every morning at a certain time, you're going to maybe go to the gym every morning. And if it's not going to the gym, a home gym, some sort of workout, some sort of meditation in the morning, whatever it is to focus on you and to get your mind right. So setting a clear morning routine that you can stay consistent with. And then I would set goals for yourself. I would set goals for the year, break those out into quarterly goals. What are my quarterly goals? And then what do I need to do on a daily basis to reach those quarterly goals? So doing that backwards math this is my annual goal. This is what it looks like on a quarterly basis. And this is what I'm doing every single day to get there. So that way I'm not blindsided at the end of the year and then, well, I'm never hit my goals. And then set yourself up. Then my third tip is to set up a night routine, something that prepares yourself for the next day.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's been something that's been really helpful for me is, and I don't always get there, but trying to think about, am I fully prepared for
Yeah.
the next day, before, like, am I prepped for my meetings or, just do I know what's going on? And I
Yeah.
think that that's huge, no matter what position we're in. It takes away the stress, it takes away the pressure, and just puts us in a better mind space. So this has
Yeah.
been really helpful, Apollonia. I think that this will be helpful for some of the safety like CEOs that are listening, but also just like safety managers, safety professionals, field workers that are looking at how can we grow as people. And I think that you've convinced us that mindset is one of those ways. So thank you so much for sharing today.
Absolutely. Yes.
Wonderful.